via Mercer. He is absolutely the brains of the unified communications operation here at Blue Source. He's very well respected throughout the industry. He's well known in Microsoft and throughout our customer base as a very competent and very knowledgeable unified comms specialist. He's also got a broad range of knowledge, much to the sort of annoyance of some of his colleagues. You know, he knows a heck of a lot about Active Directory, VMware, networking, and Exchange in the mix as well.
So actually the first thing I'm going to show you is not Lync at all. We're going to jump straight into the Outlook client. And this is to show you that the integration is really key between all of the Microsoft Office apps. So typically users are going to be using Outlook for a fair proportion of the day. And as an email comes in, I have straight away this presence integration. So I can see that Ross is set to away. That's because he's on a device that's not active at the moment. And this presence is available across your entire address book. Then as we move through this section, we have all of our click to communicate options. So there we go, he's just changed it in a meeting because he's logged into his mobile client, and it even tells me that he's mobile. So I know he's both in a meeting. That's pulled straight out of his calendar. So there is full calendar integration. And this is an automatic present status. So as Ross goes in and out of meetings, it's going to change the present status so that everybody around the business knows exactly Ross's availability. And presence is really the key. So presence is not about keeping tabs on your staff. It's more about empowering the end users to make the right decisions about how to communicate with a particular contact. If someone is set to away, I'm not going to ring them because they're probably not going to answer the phone. If they're set to do not disturb, again, you don't want to be ringing them because they're not going to answer it. So maybe in that circumstance, an email would be better. If they're set to available, go for it. IM or a call, or even a video call, any of those options are there for us. So going back into this section here, we have all of our click to communicate options. So we have a click to IM, we have click to call, and if I do a drop down, I've got all the various ways to call Ross in this instance. Now I would always recommend doing a link call, and then Ross can choose where to pick up that call. If I choose to call him on his mobile and he doesn't happen to have his mobile on him, then he's not going to answer. Whereas if I choose to call via link, or when it's in Outlook it shows a little computer icon, then he can choose where to pick that call up. And I'll show you those settings in a little while. We've also got click to video and click to email. So all of your click to communicate options are right there at the click of a button. And the final thing to show on here is the contact card. So this contact card gives a little bit more information about the contact that you're looking at. It's going to show their email address, and if you set up all of your hierarchy within Active Directory, so your organization hierarchy, you'll see things like direct reports and managers, that sort of thing. So let's do a click to IM, and so you can see from there that opens up the IM window, and I can then just start typing out an IM, and it's as easy as that. So I haven't had to go into the Lync client at all. I'm driving everything via Outlook. And there we go. We've got a message back. So let's jump into the Lync client itself. So within the Lync client, this is the full desktop client that I'm showing you here. In our main view, we have our buddy list, and this will consist of contacts that your users choose to import into their particular buddy list. You don't need to add anyone, and if you want to find someone, you can just start typing their name, and there we go, up it comes. As you continue typing, it's going to hone down the results until you find the correct person. So I'm actually going to look for a particular user. So this is the user that I'm looking for, and again you can see the same options that we had, the same click to communicate options that we had in Outlook, we now get in Lync as well. This is an important feature. This is ensuring there's a consistent user experience across all the various ways of accessing Lync and the unified communications stack. And if we drive a consistent user experience, then your users are going to be more likely to use that capability, and ultimately it's going to help drive productivity as well. So let's click to IM again. And so off that goes, and we'll just wait for an answer back. There we go. So we're in an IM session. So we're at the same place as we were when we did this through Outlook. So there's a couple of different ways of getting there, depending on which client you happen to be working in. If we then want to add, build up the modalities, we can add voice very easily. So that's now turned that session into a voice call. And we haven't had to change devices, we haven't had to pick up any handsets. If I had a headset on, it would use that. If I had a handset, it would use that as well. So everything is integrated. If we want to continue to build up this functionality, we can add video. So if we answer, let's add the video. And let's add it from the other side as well. There we go. So we've added video to the call as well. And so you can see we're building up these modalities one by one, turning it from just a standard instant message session all the way through to a video call. I'm going to drop the video and then show you the collaboration features. Then from within the same window we have these collaboration features as well. So if we wanted to share a desktop, we're working on a particular solution or a particular document, we can share the desktop out. That will give you the option of sharing out whichever desktops that you have. So if I had 3 screens, I could choose to share out 1 screen, I could choose to share out all 3. If it's just a particular program you wanted to share out, because maybe some of the other documents are sensitive, you can just share out a particular program. If we wanted to upload a PowerPoint presentation, that's also available from this screen, and some other features that you would expect from a conferencing solution, such as whiteboarding and the polls that you saw earlier in this meeting. And there's also a Q&A section as well. Once you load up your content, you then have a section in here which is this manage presentable content. So I don't have any content, but if I did, that would give me a list of content that I could then switch between, and that way you're not having to keep uploading presentations or choosing the modalities. They're all in there for you to use. So let's drop back out of here. And we'll go back into Outlook. So the one thing I wanted to show you was, I'll just format that a bit better. So if we wanted to schedule a meeting, if you're used to using something like GoToWebinar, Cisco WebEx, something like that, then you're used to having to go and set these meetings up separately. You've got an account to log in. Once you've set all that up, then that's fine. You can then email those solutions out. Well, within the Lync solution, it's fully integrated into Outlook. So I just have a button, new Lync meeting. Now, as soon as I've pressed that button, that's a live meeting. So this link here is live. If I was to click that, it would join me to that particular meeting. I can format these, format the email just as I need to, and then I can add users just as I would to any other particular meeting. There's a few options that I can choose. So if we were doing a webinar type scenario, I could actually disable IM, mute the attendees, block everybody's video, and I've got some controls around who do I want to go into the lobby, do I want to use the lobby at all. Depends on the type of meeting. If it's a sensitive meeting, you might want to turn the lobby on, so anybody that connects by accident, they're not going to get straight into the meeting, and you get to choose who gets in and who doesn't. And again, who's going to be a presenter, anyone from my organisation, or actually it's only me, and I will choose other presenters as they join the meeting. So there's a lot of options right here within the when you schedule the meeting. The same set of options are also available once you're in the meeting as well, so you can change them on the fly. So there was one customer deployment that we did, and they were actually using GoToWebinar as well as an audio conferencing provider. So I think it was LoopUp they were using. They had a analog PBX, and they were using Blackberries for mobiles. So we actually went in and did a complete rip and replace. So we had Lync at the core, and we've recently upgraded them to Lync 2013. We've been able to completely remove the need for their audio conferencing provider because Lync supports dial-in conferencing. We've got rid of their local ISDN and moved them over to a SIP solution, so they're saving money on their calls. And actually, we're just looking now at removing GoToWebinar and using Lync as their webinar solution as well. So they're realising the benefits. They've been realising them probably over the last year or so by incrementally giving these features to the user base, and that's worked quite well for them because it wasn't all day one everybody gets everything and then nobody ends up using it. They've been very specific and kind of packaged the features, made sure all the users are trained really well in all the features so that they maximise the benefit to the business. So there's one other feature I want to show you just before we jump back into the slides. So just Lync as a phone system, these call forwarding settings. So there's a lot that we haven't covered, and would be happy to do a more personal one-to-one demo for you. But this is quite an important feature that I'd like to show you. Call forwarding. So Lync is all about empowering the end users. From these call forwarding settings, I can do a permanent divert. Say, well, actually, I'm going on holiday. Let's divert everything to voicemail. I can simultaneously ring another number. So, for instance, I can sim ring my mobile, assuming that I'm not logged in to the mobile Lync client. I could sim ring a different mobile. I could sim ring my home phone if I wanted to take calls at home. And then one of the other good features here is the team call. So in the legacy PBX world, you would create hunt groups, and you'd have to put in a request to the service desk. They'd set up a hunt group. Any changes you wanted to make is then another call to the service desk. And again, Lync is about empowering the end user to make the communications choices. So in here, I can define my team call group just by searching for them within the Lync client itself. Once I've set Ross up, I can say, well, actually, call me. If I don't answer within 5 seconds, then call Ross. And then a toast pop-up will come up on Ross's Lync client to say there's a call coming in for VM. He hasn't answered. You've now got the option to pick that up. This is a really good feature. There are other ways of doing pickup groups at an administrative level. But actually this works really well for users to manage their own communications preferences. So I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to jump back into the slides.
Okay, so I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the various deployment methods that you can go through. Now there are two main ways of deploying Lync. There's actually three, but there are Lync on-premise and a Lync online. When you look at Lync online, we're showing here the Lync online from Office 365. So that's Microsoft's public software as a service, multi-tenanted environment. There's also a Lync online dedicated solution, and then there are hosted environments, so private cloud environments available as well. But essentially a private cloud looks like a Lync on-premise solution. And so the main reasons you would choose one over the other is around functionality, and actually the way you want to cost your project. So for an on-premise solution, all of the features are supported, from IAM and presence right through to the full PBX functionality. If you're looking at Office 365, then you get the majority of the features. So you'll have IAM and presence, you can do Lync meetings, and actually you can license the voice functionality. So if your cost model is that you want to move to an OpEx cost model, then you can actually buy the licenses through Office 365, and then have the rights to deploy an on-premises solution. So there are some specific license types that you need to buy, and again, would be happy to talk more about that. But essentially, you can do pretty much everything both ways. And what we tend to find works well with some of our customers is running a cloud decision workshop. Now, is cloud right for us? And specifically around the Office 365, is that right for us? Here's what it can do. Here are the drawbacks, i.e. you lose control of the architecture and the infrastructure. You still maintain control of management. And then at the end of that couple of days, is that the right way to go? And if it is, well, let's move that forward. So that kind of is a nice introduction into what it can and can't do, and the way to deploy those. Now, if we were taking a typical unified comms deployment, and we were looking at potentially replacing end-to-end, or even maybe just a pilot and integrating and coexisting with an existing platform, these are the types of engagements that we would do. And this is how our deployment strategy would typically look. There are always exceptions, but typically this is what we'll see. Right off the bat, we'd do a UC readiness assessment. And this is kind of a two-pronged attack. We'd look at the network, and we'd have one of our network specialists come in and actually take a look around the network, LAN, WAN, potentially firewall as well, and just see, does it do what you need it to do? Is it capable of running an IP-based unified comms solution? Alongside this, we run some tools that actually run synthetic transactions. So they sit there making calls to each other, and then we generate a report off the back of that to say, well, actually this link was particularly bad, you had a lot of jitter on this link, and then we can take it from there and say, well, if you want to run a successful IP solution, these are the steps that you'll need to do. So once that piece has been done, then we move into the technical design workshops and discovery phases, where we just look at everything, discuss the requirements, and then produce a low-level design document. Once that's signed off, we would move into the implementation phase and build the solution out. Now, whether that's on-premise, whether it's a private cloud, or if it's Office 365, then it's enabling those services within Office 365 and any integrated applications. The pilot would then be a subset of business users right the way across the business. And the types of users that we look for are not only the users that are very good to IT and are willing to take part in these things, but also the more difficult users with more bespoke requirements, because if anything is going to fail, it will be some of those bespoke requirements. And so you want to get that covered off in the pilot sessions as well. Reception, very important to have them on any voice pilot. Once we go through the user acceptance testing, we'll typically have a pilot review, and then we'll start planning the actual rollout. Now, it might be that if it's a 100 user system, that you're going to roll that out fairly quickly. If it's 10,000 users, there's going to be a bit more planning involved. Once you're through the rollout, we start looking at legacy systems decommissioning. Just to cover a few of the services that BlueSource can provide, we are a gold partner of Microsoft in communications messaging, and that's specifically relating to the unified communications stack. And we provide professional services and managed services. and this is across the entire range of options. So whether that's Office 365, whether it's going to be public or private cloud, or whether it's an on-premise solution or a hybrid, we can provide services around this. We also provide managed services around the service and support of Lync, and that will include both proactive monitoring, maintenance on the Lync platform itself, and even if it's just an on-premise solution, we would be happy to provide either break fix or a full managed service around that. One other thing that's worth noting, if you were looking at doing a proof of concept, we do have a service that we can provide to roll in a proof of concept and roll it back out, and it's based on a completely segregated Active Directory. It's kind of a one-box solution, and that's nice to roll in and roll out.